Welcome to Friday, the 19th of November, 2021. This podcast brought to you by Chugwater Chili, the gourmet spice of Western life. Go to chugwaterchili.com to get some great holiday discounts through this month of November. This week, your holiday discount is 33% off of Chugwater Chili swag. Take advantage of these great discounts at chugwaterchili.com. High clouds and windy conditions again today. Sounds like a broken record, I know. That's how it's rolling right now, and we're going to see this pattern be with us through today and to some extent the wind all weekend. We will have a little bit of moisture come in late today through early Saturday with some mountain snow showers. A few on the plains tonight and Saturday morning will be possible. Nothing really heavy. A few inches of snow in some of Wyoming's and Colorado's and surrounding states' mountain ranges, but nothing too heavy. Good travel weather Sunday through Tuesday. If you are going to travel early for Thanksgiving, there's very little weather in the west between Sunday and Tuesday. Kind of a little gap of mild, dry weather again, but our confidence is growing. We're going to have travel concerns for Wednesday and Thursday of next week. I don't foresee that we've got a really big snowstorm developing by the middle of next week, but I see enough snow, enough cold, and enough of a change in the weather that travelers, you're just going to want to stay tuned. Obviously, as we get closer, as we get into Monday, we'll have a better idea, but we are a little concerned about some slick roads in some parts of the West Wednesday and Thursday of next week, and other parts of the U.S. affected by winter weather as well. All eyes on December. I have been talking this week and last week about omega blocks, Greenland blocks, things that from a big picture standpoint would be supportive of some much colder weather in the month of December coming into the United States and Canada. And we're going to show you more about that later on in the podcast. Today's pattern shows a general west to east flow with the jet stream. This is why it's going to be mild. When you have winds that go west to east with a jet stream, your temperatures are going to be close to average or a little bit above. But the westerly flow is perpendicular to the mountains, so we're getting a lot of mountain wave clouds and a lot of mid and high level cloudiness, and that'll be the case again today. Here's a little wave coming in. It's heading southeast, and it's already producing snow up into Yellowstone Park, parts of the Pacific Northwest and western areas of Wyoming this morning. The front will go through tonight into Saturday morning and then be gone. High pressure is going to start to build into the western United States as we get into Sunday and Monday. So this area of high pressure is what's going to create a little gap in the weather pattern, bringing us good weather conditions for that travel period of Sunday through Tuesday. But notice we're getting more waves, getting a little wavy with the jet stream pattern. And here is that blocking pattern also building up in Greenland across the North Atlantic. This wave right here is the system that we're going to watch for Wednesday. As we go into Tuesday night and Wednesday, this system is going to swing in, and it's going to hold itself together a little bit better as it does so. This is the precipitation forecast through Monday. You can see some green and blue and some gray patches there. No one's really getting a lot, but you can see that the mountain ranges are going to be best poised to pick up a little bit of snow here over the next 72 hours. Not a lot, but a little bit. As we go out into the plains, just a few snow showers and rain showers will make it. Long term, over the next 10 days, this is where we start to see things get a little more interesting. I'm just showing this for display purposes only, but this is through next Sunday. So this takes us through all of Thanksgiving weekend. I expect this to change and be variable. But a few things to highlight. Into the Great Lakes and Midwest, some snow, some winter weather could be affecting holiday travel, airports in those areas there. Look at this band of possible freezing precipitation in the form of snow, maybe some freezing rain and sleet as well that could develop in this part of the country here as well as that colder air comes on in. Then you can see here in the Rockies, well, the snow getting a little more expansive, getting out east of the Continental Divide a little bit. This is why as we get to the middle to the end of next week and next weekend, travelers need to pay attention. This is why here's the trough that comes in. This is for noon on Wednesday. Again, we're not looking at a four corners low where it gets closed off, where you get the really big storms. But we do see the low kind of coming in, moving slower and being re-energized a bit by some energy and moisture coming in on the back side of it. Then we've got a pretty good looking storm off the coast of New England, and that's going to help maintain the Greenland block out in the North Atlantic. More on that here in a moment. And then we see another pretty good wave that's queued up to come behind it. Also notice this. You see this area pink? This plays a role later on in our forecast as high pressure wants to become better established here in the eastern Pacific. That ridging helps drive the colder air up north, more to the south. And that's something we'll show you here in a moment. If we were to look with this next wave, this is for the precipitation that happens Tuesday through Friday of next week. And you can see the moisture gets better out into the plains. A lot of this will be in the form of snow. This is that heavier precipitation that could be icy right there. And then you can see more rain and snow going into the Pacific Northwest, Washington, and Oregon, and more snow into the northern and central Rockies as well. And there you go. A little bit of a closer look at what the snow may look like as we get into that Wednesday through Friday timeframe of next week. Now let's talk big picture. Let's talk about long term. What I'm showing you is a look down on the northern hemisphere, looking straight down if you were in space, looking in from a satellite. Now this is where we are right now, and we can see that as we take a look at the pattern, we have lots of troughs coming on through, lots of blue and green. We also have this area of high pressure building into the northern Atlantic, into parts of Europe. As we go forward, as we go through the next 10 to 15 days, going to show you some changes in what's happening in the northern hemisphere. Okay, as we go, this is today. This is by the first weekend of December, for Saturday the 4th. Now I'm going to go back and forth here. What I want you to notice is there is a consolidation, a more consolidation of the blue color by the first weekend of December as compared to we are right now. Also, notice we have some pretty large features beginning to form. We have this high beginning to build up off the west coast in the Gulf of Alaska here, then a very broad trough, and then here's the Greenland block forming, and forming a pattern like this. We're starting to see these waves change latitude more, going more north-south with these waves. This is a blocking pattern here. This is a blocking pattern here. So you get a big high pressure ridge up into Greenland and the North Atlantic. You get a big ridge out here in the eastern Pacific. What that does is it's like a funnel. It basically blocks the flow of air from going west to east across the globe. And what it does is it bottles up and it consolidates very cold Arctic air that's building in these higher latitudes. So this area right here, this, we can describe it as a lobe, but just a very large air mass of extremely cold Arctic air. And if you notice, the jet stream winds now are coming from the northwest to the southeast into the central and western United States. So by the first weekend of December, things could get very, very interesting. As long as we see this blocking pattern here and this blocking pattern here, our confidence will continue to grow that December starts off much, much colder, in stark contrast to the very mild May that we've had so far. Europe will be impacted first. And one thing that we have seen in patterns, just like what we're seeing developing in early December, is that it really impacts Western Europe and North America the most in terms of where the coldest temperatures relative to the 30-year averages are. So one thing we'll be watching carefully will be Western Europe, because that Greenland block funnels in very cold air. You can see it up here into Iceland. You can see it up here into Scandinavia. The green, the blues, and the purples all represent temperatures below average. And look at the contrast. And again, this is something that happens in blocks. As we told you earlier this week, you concentrate extremes. You concentrate this extreme here and this extreme here. It's classic La Nina. We've seen this in the last year. This is something that's going to happen throughout the course of the winter. Same thing's going to happen in North America as well. Take a look at the snow forecast over the next 10 to 15 days in Europe. Look how far the extent of the snow gets, and look at the snow in the Alps, then also look at the snows even into the UK. There's even the potential of even Ireland and parts of the UK getting snowed on by that first weekend of December as well. Back onto our side of the globe, these blue colors and orange and red colors here represent temperature. You see this 480 right here? That's going to be a temperature on the ground of near 40 below, maybe not exactly 40 below, but somewhere in that range in the Northwest Territories of Canada by that first weekend of December. So the cold air is certainly going to have that potential to be there. And if we were to take a look and zoom in on North America, you can see that cold air core right there. And then the jet stream is going to allow the door to open, allow this cold air mass to sink south. The question will be, will the really cold air be more here, or will it be directed more to the west? That's the thing that we've got to sort out in the coming days. To support the long-term trend to this pattern change in early December, I'm showing you something I haven't showed you before, which is the Japanese model. The Japanese Meteorological Agency has a really good global model that sometimes is quite good at predicting large-scale weather patterns, big picture weather patterns over a long period of time. I showed you the European model here. What I'm showing you now is the Japanese model, which is also showing by the second week forecast 2 big blocks in the Atlantic and 1 here in the Eastern Pacific. See the blue here? The blue represents the connection to the colder than average temperatures lined up with this blocking pattern. If we were to look at temperatures on the surface, the blue here represents where the very, very cold air will be. And you can see it's basically on the Continental Divide and then into the central and eastern areas of the United States and back up here into Canada and back up to Alaska. Also supporting it, the stratospheric warming trend that we have talked about here recently is still showing up. This is the stratosphere warming up in the early parts of December, which also helps to move the cold air south. So we continue to see this. We're getting confident that this pattern in December is going to evolve. We're sticking our neck out here a little bit, kind of on the bleeding edge of how far we should actually forecast. But this is what's fun about the podcast. We can talk about these things. And if it does come to fruition, we're going to know why. And if it doesn't, we can talk about why as well. Have yourself a great Friday and a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday.